everyone, and welcome to another episode of Small Town Big Business, a podcast about doing big business in rural Middle America. I am your co-host for today, Deb Barnett. I'm also with Southern Illinois Now, where we focus on the 17 southernmost counties in Illinois and advance our region as a great place to live, work, and do business.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Olson, Director of Business Development for the City of Marion. And we are coming to you from the City of Marion, and specifically we are at the EThOs at the Citadel building. And if you're not familiar with EThOs, it is a business incubator, co-working, and training space. And the mission and purpose is to help people get started and thrive and be successful in business. Speaking of which, we wouldn't be able to have this successful podcast without our wonderful sponsors, including Arcadia Wealth Group. We have Black Diamond Harley Davidson and RV, Fowler Heating and Cooling. We have Watermark Auto Group, Foundation, Swinford Media Group, and last but not least, our producer, Union Street Arts.
And you can join our Small Town Big Business podcast on your favorite podcast platform. You can also find us on our YouTube channel. Just search Small Town Big Business. And when you're there, don't forget to subscribe so that you are notified of our newest episodes the minute they release. If you're new to the podcast, we interview successful business owners and founders about their success in business, their story about business, and how we might inspire listeners who are in business or looking to start a business. And today we are really excited to welcome our guest, Julie Christ, who is the owner of Louie's P&R in Herrin, Illinois. So welcome, Julie.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So let's dive in. I know you have a great story to tell today. People are going to be really inspired. But let's start with a little bit about you and how you came to be the owner and, as you've called it, the everything at Louie's P&R.
Okay, so my name is Julie Christ, like you said. I grew up in Herrin. My maiden name was Julie Ridgway. So I grew up, went to all the Herrin schools, OLMC, Herrin High School, spent all of my childhood there. Got married and married a boy from Marion. His name is Aaron Christ, and we got married and moved immediately to St. Louis and swore we would never move back to Herrin. We're Southern Illinois. We just thought we were in the big city and we were just doing all the things, and he had a big job, traveled the world, and we ended up back in Southern Illinois.
We're so glad you did.
Yes, and we are too. Thinking that we would always live in the city, when we decided to move back, my husband's job lured us back. He is the director of a manufacturing plant in Carbondale, and that's when we decided to move back. We became closer to family, and my kids just loved it. I have two boys. At the time, they were 5th grade and 8th grade, and they just loved being back closer to their cousins and their aunts and uncles that they otherwise would have really never known. Yeah. So at that point, I was working as a nurse for Dr. Van Ecker in a dermatology office, and I just decided maybe we should do our own thing. Maybe we should start our own business. And my husband always wanted to have some sort of barbecue company, barbecue restaurant, and I was like, no way, I am not doing those hours. So when we found out Louie's was for sale, it was like already established. It had great hours in the sense that there's no Sundays, no nights per se, no holidays really. And I was like, well, maybe we could do that and kind of incorporate the barbecue idea, the meat market idea, and really not have a full-blown restaurant with all that comes with it. So, bam, we bought it.
Checked all the boxes.
We checked all the boxes and we bought it. And I'm still in shock 5 years later some days.
So thank you for saving a legacy business.
Yes.
Because we see so many boomers retiring out, and if nobody steps up, we just lose the great history and the established business. So talk about the changes that you've made and what's the same, and kind of tell us what Louie's is today.
So one thing I found out really quickly is people don't like change. So it was very important to us to keep the traditions alive that were there. We bought the store from Tony and Alyssa Galdoni, and they had the Galdonis had it for their whole life, really, because their father had owned it. So we knew it was very important to keep the traditions that they had. The hot salami on Saturdays, the homemade sausages that we make every Wednesday in-house. I didn't realize until we actually purchased it how important that was. People were at the door on December 2nd, 2019, the day we took over, literally with tears saying, please tell us you're not going to change. And so with that being said, we kept so much the same and then just added our flair onto it. We definitely spruced up the place. Living in St. Louis, my husband and I, on our date nights, we would go to the Hill, and we just went to all the markets, and we were like, Louie's could be like this, but it just they never really bumped it up to that level. They were just kind of kept it the same, and which was fine, and it worked, but we just had this idea that we could really add the t-shirts, add a little bit more of the excitement and the aprons and the novelty items, and spruce up, do more catering, get a website, so that's where we are now. I mean, that's kind of how it evolved. And so we took a great thing and made it even better, is how we feel.
So long-standing business, started in 1890.
So a little history there. It was originally called the DNR Market, which stood for Dedamese and Ruggieri. And then as the years went by, a man last name Parigi bought out the Dedamese, so it became the PNR Market. Then in 1957, I believe, Louie Galdoni bought it. Instead of changing the whole name, he just called it Louie's PNR. So fast forward, after he retired, he had two sons that took over, Chris and Tony. And then they also have the seasoning company, which everyone is familiar with, the Italian beef seasoning packets. So Chris kind of took the seasoning division of it, and Tony took the deli portion of it. So we ended up buying it from Tony.
So Julie, you just rattled off a lot of names that are very recognizably Italian, and Heron has a rich Italian heritage. Heron Festa Italiana is a huge annual event in the community. So talk about what that heritage and being able to carry on that heritage through Louie's PNR means, maybe to you personally, to the community, your customers.
Well, my mother was a Calcaterra, and if anyone knows anything about the Calcaterra name, it's like Smith in Italian. So yes, I had a huge Italian family. The R that stands for Ruggieri and PNR, my mother's maiden name, so my grandmother's maiden name was actually Ruggieri. So I have a lot of connections, which it was just kind of a fluke that was the same name. My grandfather actually had a feed store that was next to Louie's PNR called the Calcaterra Feed Store. Him and his 5 brothers, so it was 6 brothers that ran this feed store, and it was just the place to go before the Walmarts and all of that to get your dog food and your plantings and your brooms and shovels and everything. So I kind of grew up on that block, and it was just a very rich history of Italian families and names on that block. So yes, Heron is all about the Italian heritage, and we are obviously very involved with the Heron Festa Italiana, which is Memorial Day weekend. Louie's is the souvenir store, if you will. So they used to have their own souvenir store at the Festa, but they just kind of made Louie's the store. So people stop by Louie's that whole weekend to load up their coolers, to take their salamis back home, and to take their salami and get their souvenirs, and it's a super busy weekend for us every year. We're very lucky that it's 6 months between Christmas and Heron Fest, because those are definitely the 2 times of year when we are in overload.
Sure.
So yes, we hear all the time that thank you for keeping the Italian heritage going there, and we have all the history up on the wall, so you can come in and read about it. And yes, it's very important to us. So
important.
So, like so many rural downtowns, I really do see Heron going through transition with hometown Christmas, murals, etc. I feel like you were kind of early in that as a cornerstone business. What are you seeing? What are you involved with? How are you a part of all the growth that's happening downtown?
So I don't know if this is good or bad, but I'm pretty much involved with everything in here. And, luckily I'm at a good place in my life. Right now, my son is a freshman at Murray State, and my youngest son is 16, just got his driver's license. So it really, I'm at a really fun point in my life because they're still very close to me being a freshman in college and a sophomore in high school, but they're independent right now. So I can afford to have more time being involved with the chamber, being involved with the Heron Hometown Christmas, very involved with the schools. I'm on the Heron Education Foundation. I do a lot for the Heron Community Pantry in town. As much as I can, I want to be involved because I do think it's a twofold situation. You do get back from the things you do get involved in. Of course, I'm in the Heron Chamber. I'm on the board of directors there. So I think Heron is undergoing some changes. Our chamber is growing big time. Like we had, I believe at our January luncheon, we had 90 people, and 4 years ago, I think we had about 20 people.
And for people who might not be familiar with Marion or Heron, what is the population of Heron? Just to give them an idea.
9 or 10,000, I believe. Okay.
So small town.
It's a very small town. But I see the businesses banding together. There's always room for more. If another restaurant is coming in, I'm like, yes, please. I mean, the more the merrier. That's anything to bring people into our town. We're just trying to grow, and I know that the Economic Development Board is trying to bring more businesses in, and it's just really, I think things are on the upswing there. The mayor is very easy to work with. He helped us a lot with different issues. So yeah, I do see it, the chamber's growing, and I do see it on the upswing.
We're seeing that really all throughout Southern Illinois, this sort of upswing, the spirit of collaboration and optimism and growth. And it really does seem to stem from those local community members who just believe in their community, they're involved in their community, and want to see it grow and thrive. So we also see a trend in businesses supporting businesses.
Absolutely.
Talk a little bit about how you do that.
I have so much of that going on. I have so many good people around me right now, other businesses in Heron. Kim Summers at Our House Sports, we are always collaborating on something or getting ideas and what are we going to do, and let's do this together. And Rhiannon Storm at Country Financial, we sponsor the carriage rides together at the Heron Hometown Christmas. We're talking about doing something for teacher appreciation. We love to work together because I think it makes it more exciting. Plus it lessens the work a little bit, but get more people involved, and just I love working with our other business members in town, and that happens a lot.
It sounds like that's part of your support system.
No
one's going it alone. You're in this together. It absolutely
is. Yeah. I mean, we bounce ideas off of each other. We have group texts going all over. Nina Helini, who's the marketing director of the Heron Fest, we are constantly collaborating on things, and I just love it so much. It takes that alone feeling out of it. And if I have a crazy question or idea, I'll call one of those girls and say, "What do you think?" And sometimes it may be, "Julie, no, let's just calm down. I think that might be a little crazy." And so, but yes, I love working with the other business owners in town. They're great.
It's awesome.
Oh my gosh, I love the collaborative spirit. And so you talked about the people that you work with, but there's also been some spin out business from you, right? Something new happening?
Yes. As if it wasn't enough that my husband's running a multi-million-dollar manufacturing plant in Carbondale, and he also oversees one in Michigan and in Montreal, Canada now. Oh, we decided to purchase this little building on the corner of Ash Street and Park Avenue in Heron and turn it into a barbecue supply company, Louie's Barbecue Supply Company. And it is just amazing. First of all, we took a rundown corner of Heron and made it super cute. And it's really starting to take off. Of course, we opened it when the weather was bad and but Christmas was great, but now we're really hoping for going into the springtime for it to take off. It has a lot of rubs, spices, sauces, grills, thermometers and things. There's nothing like it really. When we lived in St. Louis, these types of places were around, and my husband just would always go to them. He's like, so it was always his dream. So, you know, he kind of wanted the Louie's thing, he kind of wanted the barbecue thing, and then bam, we're making it happen. So
Yeah.
It's really cute.
Well, it sounds like you've had a lot of growth, a lot of excitement, a lot of success, but I'm sure there have been challenges along the way. Talk about those and how you've overcome those.
So we purchased Louie's P&R on December 2nd, 2019, and we all know what happened in March of 2020. And terrified is the only word to explain it. We had no idea what was going to happen, and we had all of these plans, and everything got put on hold. But to be honest, we made it through with flying colors. When the other big box places were out of meat, our small suppliers were still getting, you know, our deliveries to us. So we became the place to be. And a lot of elderly people who were afraid to go into the large stores to shop felt very much more comfortable coming to our little shop. So we had no idea how it was going to actually go in our favor, but we were terrified.
Yeah.
We didn't, you know, we were an essential business, so we could stay open. Luckily, our employees stuck with us. Again, mentioning the mayor, Steve Frattini, he allowed us to shut down the street in front of Louie's and have some outdoor seating that otherwise we wouldn't have been able to do, and offer people to come in and get their food and eat outside, which was acceptable. I mean, it was very scary though. We had no earthly idea what was, along with how everyone else in the world that didn't know what was happening. Other challenges would be the customers. And, you know, I have found that as long as you work with people, 99.9% of the time, you're going to be able to work it out and make people happy. I mean, you're always going to have that handful of people that are not going to bend or whatever, but just sit down and talk to your customers and find out what the problem is, if there was one, and make it right. And they can say they're never coming back or whatever, but they always do. And so I've really learned a lot from my customers and how to make them happy and smooth over anything that could possibly go wrong.
So you wear a lot of hats.
Yes, I do.
So what is your favorite part and which is your least favorite duty?
Okay,
and how
so
do you get help for that, if you do?
I'm absolutely a communications marketing person. Okay. So when we took over Louie's, my husband has 2 business degrees from WashU and all this, but guess what? He's not there. He's doing his own thing. So, you know, I love to talk to the customers. I love to talk to the customers. Every day we get customers in with a story. My grandpa used to bring me here. I'm bringing my son here he's coming home from Arizona next week or whatever. And all they want is Louie salami, and they want the salami. So I just love hearing the stories and talking to the customers. My least favorite would probably be just all the book work and all that. And okay, you have to remember, I had never done anything like this. So I had to learn QuickBooks. I had to learn purchasing. I mean, I've got Hall's refrigeration on my speed dial. Who would have ever thought? You know, I hadn't really it was learning by fire. I mean, it was just putting out problems, figuring out things as I went. And 5 years later, I've become a totally different person. My favorite is absolutely just dealing with the customers and listening to all the stories. But having your own small business is a 24/7 job. I mean, we're there on Sundays and in the evenings checking the refrigeration, checking the deliveries and everything. And, you know, you can walk in and something crazy could be happening that has to be addressed right then. And it's kind of scary, but I've learned that everything is fixable. That's my motto.
That's good.
Absolutely. And it's like cliche, but I mean, if the ceiling falls in, it's fixable. It doesn't matter. Like we're gonna make a phone call and we're gonna get this fixed. So
that's great advice. That's great advice. So for folks that are listening and maybe they own a business, maybe they've always had a dream of owning a business, or they're just getting started, what advice would you give them?
Definitely surround yourself with great people. I mean, from friends, family, to vendors that you have, delivery people. I mean, I know everyone on a first name basis. I've got everyone's phone numbers on my cell phone. If there's an issue, I can fix it. Like, you really just have to surround yourself with good people. Obviously, learn to expect the unexpected, because you don't know what's going to happen. I mean, things could be going along perfectly smooth and all of a sudden the bottom falls out. Don't worry if you run out of something. I mean, we're just a small market in a small town in Southern Illinois. It's not the end of the world. Everything can be fixed pretty easy. So that's what I would say on that.
Those are all good pieces.
Yeah.
You mentioned just small town or small store in Heron, but you've also, when you came in kind of with a fresh set of eyes and you expanded, and I think you have some online ordering and things of that nature as well. So even if people aren't in the area, can they still
Yes, they can order our sausages online at, I think it's louispnr.market. Also, if you call the store, we always are shipping out t-shirts and cookbooks and all different things like that. And I would like to say too that Louie's is definitely a regional place. I mean, we have people from DuQuoin, from Pinckneyville, Christopher. People jump off 57 driving from Chicago to Florida on their snowbird deal and come because they've seen us, and we were featured in Illinois Country Living magazine. Amazing article. It changed our lives for a while there. People were super interested in us, and like I said, jumping off the interstate, we sell coolers there so you can pack up your goodies and go. And yeah, we've definitely grown and definitely are a regional place, destination, honestly.
Yeah. And something that people crave, folks that have grown up here. So Luke knows my son, and he, of course, lived here in Southern Illinois. He's been in Colorado for 7 years, but every time he comes home, he wants Italian beef with Louie seasoning. And his birthday was a few weeks ago, and in his package, I sent all of his birthday things and 2 packets.
Oh, I love it. I just love hearing that.
Seasoning.
I love hearing
and
that.
And he loves introducing that to his friends in Colorado, and they just love it, and it's just a taste of home.
Yes, it's definitely a popular thing. At Murray, my son we send him back with Italian sausage and pasta sauce, and they live in a dorm, but they have the kitchen in the middle of the dorm floor, and he whips up pasta for him about once a week, and all the boys come in, they can smell it, and he's like, Louie's PNR, and they all wear their Louie's PNR t-shirts. We sent hoodies and t-shirts down there for all the kids in the dorm. It's cute.
It's great.
So I want to make sure for people who aren't familiar with Louie's that it is a meat market. It is a place to get sandwiches ready to eat.
Yes.
You mentioned souvenir shop for Heron Fest. I know you do gift baskets galore. For me, you've helped me with just guidance on like using charcuterie, but even like simple dishes using the ingredients that you sell retail that are kid friendly. Because she's the mom, so she knows these things. But what have we not talked? Is there anything that would surprise people, or people don't know that you're a resource for?
The meat market idea. A lot of people walk in, think they're going to get lunch, and we do have a seating area where some people are surprised by that. They don't realize you can dine in. And then a lot of people don't realize we are a meat market. I mean, we cut ribeyes to order, and we have fillets, pork chops, pork steak. I mean, the whole shebang, and every once in a while we get groups in there are just like shocked that we do that. And it surprises us, but we're very active on Facebook. We get a lot of traffic looking at our Facebook. So we try to keep that updated and let people know what's going on. We also serve alcohol that a lot of people don't know. I mean, you can have your beer or wine sitting and having your hot salami sandwich as you're watching the Cardinal game or whatever. We try to accommodate on Saturdays especially. We're very busy on Saturdays, and it's exciting. It's usually there's a line of people, but in most cases people don't care. No one comes in and says, I can't wait in this line. Like, it's a community situation. Like, people are talking to people, and would your hip replacement go? And are your kids coming up from college?
It is the community gathering place.
It's definitely where the good and bad news all travels through. And so it's definitely more than just a restaurant or meat market. It's definitely a gathering space.
Sure.
And we have tried to promote that before and after lunch, the area up front, the dine-in area, we would love people to use that as a meeting place, or kids to come in and bring your laptops and study or do your homework. And that is kind of growing. That idea is kind of growing. So we have a guest Wi-Fi password and all of that, and we're just trying to make it more of a meeting place. So.
Well, I mean, it sounds like one particular meeting place and community center is about to get real formalized with the Italian Club.
Oh, yes. So we're starting an Italian club, and what better place to meet than Louie's V&R? So it's going to be our official meeting space. Michael Ann Stanley, who was the Italian teacher at Heron High School, who's retiring this year, and I know a lot of people are sad about that. She's kind of herded this together, and we have a lot of interest, so I'm excited about it. We have a sister city in Italy, Cujono, and one of the ideas of this club is we really want to start working with them, and we will send people there, they will send people here, we will gift them things from our country and back and forth. So that's something that's on the docket for that club. But yes, it starts today at 5:30 if anyone wants to check that out. And all that information's on Facebook. And let's go to the gift basket.
Julie and I are close-ish in age, but I actually met Julie through her mom, who is one of my favorite people, Miss Sue Ridgway.
Yes.
People know her from the Arthur Agency. They know her from being a physician recruiter at SIH. They know her from being Grand Marshal of Heron Festa.
Yes.
She
loves
is
to
a
tell
legend.
that story. Yeah, she is a legend.
And this summer she will turn 81 and is showing no signs of slowing down, and she's a force in your business.
She works every day at Louie's. She is the first one there pretty much and the last one to leave, and she makes all of our gift baskets, and I believe last Christmas it was upwards toward 500.
Wow.
And if you haven't seen them, they are beautiful. She definitely has a knack. If she's not there one day and someone comes in and orders 4 gift baskets, you should see me struggling with the basket and the fill and the bows, and she can whip those up like it's crazy. So yes, definitely she helps out so much. She's my runner, she delivers, she takes orders. I mean, she really can do it all there. And all of my employees are great. I mean, I couldn't do that. Most of them were there before I got there, so they are teaching me still. But yes, it's having good employees that are loyal, that show up every day, that know their business is definitely a place where we got lucky with the people that are there.
Absolutely. That longevity and history and carrying forth the things that people don't want to see changed. It makes a difference.
Right. Yeah.
That's right.
Well, Julie, Chris, thank you so much for carrying on this long-standing business in Heron, and not just in Heron, but for all of Southern Illinois. As we sort of wrap up, one of my favorite questions to ask guests is just, what is your why? Especially at this stage in your life, this new adventure, what is your why?
So I was a stay-at-home mom all of the years that we lived in St. Louis, approximately 15 years, and I just thought that was the best thing for my children, which it was great. When we got back to Heron, I decided, now that we have so much help and grandparents and aunts and uncles, and the schools are within walking distance of, it was just such a different vibe in Heron. I thought, I want to do something. If we're going to move back to Heron, I want to get involved and I want to do something. And I wanted to work, but I didn't realize what effect that was going to have on my kids also. And my husband. Both of my boys and my husband and my mother are all so proud of me, because I had gone to college. I always thought I would have a career, but then being a stay-at-home mom was such a great, I'm just so fortunate to have been able to do it. But I really feel like working now, I'm proving to my children what I can do, to my husband. I feel better about myself. And so, and it really couldn't be a better situation than Louie's, because it was already established, so that was out of the way. I can't, even though I am the purchaser, the HR department, all of that, I get to do my marketing and my communications, and I love it. Like every morning when my feet hit the floor, I just think of 10 new ideas that I could do, because it's just wide open. I can do anything. I can do a sale. I can have a new t-shirt. I can, and it's really just a fun feeling. So it's really just great for me at this time in my life.
Well, you're doing it well, and your
Thank you.
enthusiasm is contagious, so we appreciate
thank you. Thank
We
you.
appreciate you.
So with that, I will ask, where are you located? You mentioned the website, but how do people find you and do business with you?
So our storefront is 120 East Walnut in Heron. Our Facebook is packed full of information and sales or anything we have going on, and I would just encourage everyone to follow that. We're really good about updating that and letting everybody know what's going on. And feel free to call the store. We have the old-fashioned phones, and we take orders over the phones. We love to get phone calls. Our barbecue supply store is at 620 South Park, directly across the street from Hardee's in Heron. So they're only about 4, maybe 6 blocks apart, so I'm constantly running between the two. If you haven't been to this barbecue supply company, I would really encourage. It's just adorable. We took an old beauty salon that sat empty for 10 or 12 years, and it's very cute. It's definitely something to see if you've never seen anything like it. And we do have a food truck.
Oh, I didn't know that.
We
Is it called Louie's P&R?
Yes.
Okay.
We do have a food truck, and actually it is set up at our barbecue supply company. So what we do is just kind of, since our barbecue supply building is not food ready, our food truck is. So instead of taking it out and about, we keep it at the barbecue place, and on Saturdays we grill pork steaks, we have fish fry, we do different things like that, and we just work it out of it at the barbecue supply place. That's not to say we don't ever take it anywhere, but with us being stretched so much between the two businesses, it's better we just leave it in one place and work out of it. But we do have a couple events that at the pavilion, I think that we do every year. We've just promised to be there, huge events that are worth the time of getting there and being involved. So, but yes, we do serve food at the barbecue company on weekends, usually out of the food truck.
I love it, and it gives you the flexibility of investing in an in-house commercial kitchen, as you well know, is crazy expensive.
Because we had to get that all certified, and the Bi-County had to come. So that's good. So it just makes it simpler.
Yeah.
But we are able to serve food out of it. So
It's such an interesting concept, because so many times you hear of a food truck that's sort of a business starting and kind of building their clientele.
And we kind of went backwards.
Yeah, and then they move into a brick and mortar, or they keep the food truck and add a brick and mortar, but
Right.
you've sort of done just the opposite, and the food truck is an expansion of your brick and mortar, and as you mentioned, Jennifer, a great way to add that commercial kitchen.
Yes, it is.
yeah,
We
that's
go
interesting.
to Rendleman Orchards usually in the fall, places like that that are really wanting us to come, and that we can get out to places that aren't the people in the Anna, that area don't usually come to Louie's on a regular basis. So it is nice to go out and get to a different area and meet those people and
grow your market.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly.
Get exposure. And when I think about, Rendleman specifically, they're drawing people from Cape and Paducah
Yes.
and other places. So that could be a whole new market for you. That's really smart.
Yes, absolutely.
So I think with that, I think we've covered it all. And I'm just, again, I can't say it enough, just because we see businesses come and go. Thank you for continuing such a legacy and even making it better.
Yes, thank you for having me today. Owning Louie's is definitely an adventure. It's very fun. It's an iconic place that we really are proud of.
So thank you so much for tuning in. We appreciate our audience, and we appreciate our sponsors, Arcadia Wealth Management, Fowler Heating and Cooling, Black Diamond Harley Davidson and RV, Swinford Media Group, Watermark Auto Group Foundation, and our producer, Union Street Arts. We couldn't do it without our sponsors, so thanks to them.
And again, don't forget to seek out our podcast on your favorite podcast platform, or also on our YouTube channel. And don't forget to subscribe. We have an entire library of past episodes that you're definitely going to want to check out as well while you're there. Thank you again for joining us. I am Deb Barnett, Executive Director for Southern Illinois Now. You can find us at southernillinoisnow.org.
And I'm Jennifer Olson, Director of Business Development for the City of Marion, and you can find all my contact information on LinkedIn, or please stop in at our new City Hall.